I'm about to go up to the podium to give the Lutheran World Federation, or LWF's, greetings to the people gathered for the Evangelical Church in Canada convention in Vancouver, BC, when my phone rings. Without thinking too much about it, I answer the phone call. "Your immigration green card application was rejected," says a crying voice, my partner calling from Chicago. So many things and questions flood my mind. How did this happen? I fulfilled all the documents that United States Citizenship and Immigration Services required. I paid thousands of dollars to lawyers. Does this mean I cannot go back to Chicago? Does this mean I cannot continue my ministry as the LWF regional officer for North America and for the rest of the church? Am I going back to the Philippines? This is it? My 15 years of immigration process is ending. I have visited an immigration detention center with church friends in Seattle before crossing the border 2 days ago. Little did I know that I would now experience the unjust and broken immigration system I protested and advocated to reform. The advocate is now a victim. This is one of the most challenging times of my life. The intersectionality of my identities, a woman of color, queer, and an immigrant, is both a gift and an everyday responsibility. It's not easy. To go through the rejection of women from ordination growing up as a third-generation Lutheran in the Philippines, including the demeaning and systemic exclusion of the voices of women in church and society, which follows me in my new home country, United States of America, one of my birth country's colonizers. The uncertainty of my immigration status puts in front of me even more the plight of many immigrants, especially women, a sister or mother or spouse or daughter to someone. How many of them continue to take the risk of journeying through deserts, rivers, on top of the train to escape poverty, violence, or to be united with family, only to face a very expensive, arbitrary, and broken immigration system? Where do we belong and are welcome? The church that welcomes me as a woman leader is now faced with a difficult situation. To save one of the immigrant pastors in our church will cost the church a lot. Committing to live out our calling is hard. I listen quietly as the leaders debate how to fix it. I wait for days not knowing what future would be. How would the church embody the gospel we ground ourselves in and the social statements we declare as the expressions of what we believe, welcoming the strangers, the oppressed seeking freedom and hope? Days turns to weeks. Then I stop counting the weeks and focus on my own mental, spiritual, and physical health. In the midst of it, blessedness is still there. Like the song of Mary, "For you have looked favor upon your lowly servant," is source of belonging and welcome in my hopelessness and helplessness. In my waiting for the restoration of my immigration status, I turn to the church where the feast, the pagdiriwang, the celebration of Christ is abundantly prepared for all. I visit Canadian Lutheran congregations in the city, in the countryside, in the mountains, and even on an island. In the community of saints and sinners, my whole being is restored. My heart is singing, "It is well. It is well in my soul." I'm helpless, but I still have my voice, not alone, but with my family and our church collectively. The decision of the church leaders of both the ELCA and the ELCIC, who collectively pursue long and expensive legal proceedings to restore my immigration status, begins. I rejoice not only because I return to the United States and resume my call to serve our region after almost 5 months of forced exile and living with no home and legal status. My family and I rejoice because God steers the church to raise the lowly in high places. That was in 2009. Our journey continues with the lowly servants, and that is us, the church, which is sometimes lost and unable to speak to the powers to be in fear of what it may cost us. And yet we, the church, are called to take risks, for God's reign is possible. We are the church whose humility and courage scatter the proud in their conceit. So justice is not only a dream, but a reality, and that home, our home, can be truly for all. I am home now, but not yet fully, where there is a home for all, to women, to immigrants and refugees, to LGBTQ, to the children, to the BIPOC community. We continue to walk and cross borders, not as saviors, but as lowly servants. My soul rejoices in God, and my heart is full of gratitude, for God makes me whole and at home. Thank you, and I hope that you will generously support this project.